Hurrah! Ba-bum-ba-dum-ba-dum.
Yes, well, you can't help loving this old dude, and he does charm a lot of women when he goes around the city, because he usually just says to them that he's been working with women for 25 years, and it so goes that he has been running a lingerie shop in Copenhagen. And it also proves that your life stories it does intertwine with other people's life stories, because once Torkild went with his friend Pia and Ole here out to the Free State of Christiania, I think you probably heard of. And they met this young lady who was doing her garden, and they got talking to her. And of course, he was telling that he'd been working with women for so many years. And she started giggling, because it turned out in that very shop, she bought her first bra. So life stories, they gather around this bicycle on many terms. And you might wonder now, well, how does this program really run? I was telling you before that we could have put so many more people as pilots on that very first ride, and we have gone from having the first 5 pilots to having 2,400 pilots in Denmark in total over the past couple of years. And I would like to introduce to you some of the people who get involved and talk about like what is the value to them and what is the value to the elderly through this. And hopefully inspire people to also get involved once that Cycling Without Age is starting up. You're expecting 3 rickshaws to arrive very shortly. One of our youngest pilots, he's not the youngest, but I'll get back to this other guy a bit later. One of our youngest pilots, Hugo, he decided on his very first ride that he was going to take this bicycle on a train and bring it out into a nature area just north of Copenhagen. And he decided that on this journey, not only should these ladies go out and enjoy nature, but they should also have the experience of him singing to them. So he had printed out a few old songs from maybe when they were young, and he was performing out there in the forest in front of them and courtesing and charming these ladies. So even when you're 90, you can fall in love again, because inside we're all just 17, and young boys with such long legs can bring that out in us. Dobrjana is from Bulgaria, and we met her in Copenhagen a couple of years back, and we were happy to introduce her to Alexander, whom we knew from one of the nursing homes. And Alexander is paralyzed on his left side, so he doesn't get to get out a lot. He's in a wheelchair, which is not electric, so he can't steer it himself or push it himself. But he had a dream. He had a dream of going out into the city, but he also had a dream of speaking Bulgarian. So we convinced Dobrjana, again, nice legs, good cyclist. We convinced Dobrjana to meet with Alexander and go out for a bike ride. So we introduced her to being a pilot, and she met up with Alexander. We had a fabulous Facebook update after that ride, and I think I had definitely tears in my eyes when Dobrjana said, "Not only did I meet a countryman, but I also met a soulmate." Now it happened that Dobrjana was a law student, and in his early years, Alexander was an educated lawyer from Howard University in America. He has traveled widely. It has been many years since he lived in Bulgaria, and all of a sudden she as well was reunited with like a past in Bulgaria that she had missed while living away, because he spoke the language and the accents and the vocabulary that her grandparents and old aunties and uncles would speak. So that was like a one-off. They still see each other, even if they don't go out cycling every time, because Alexander has to be lifted into the bicycle with an electric lift, of course. There are many different initiatives coming up with Cycling Without Age, and we as the founders and we as running the association, we don't decide what people must do with these bicycles, except they must behave in traffic and be good to the elderly, but otherwise we don't give them tasks and jobs to do. We simply provide the bicycle as a platform for any kind of interaction and positive influence on social relations and inclusion that you can even think of. And this lady, Marete, she took the initiative to Hjørring, which is in northern part of Jutland, and she started introducing it into a neighborhood where social relation and trust and respect between people was very low. And she used the bicycles to provide a platform of people to get together and have fun together and start being able to rely and count on each other again, and in that way rebuild the trust that had been lost. But also, she did something very unique last year when when her city received almost 500 Syrian refugees, she decided to welcome these new neighbors in the best way possible to introduce them to Danish cycle culture as passengers in the rickshaw, and at the same time introduce them to the new community and place they were living in. Of course, she had the idea that if they could be involved as pilots afterwards, that would give them an opportunity to speak Danish with the elderly, to enjoy the area, to get exercise, fresh air, and of course it would get the elderly out as well, and everyone would enjoy wind in their hair. Sonja, yeah, sorry about this cheeky old gentleman. Sonja has the motivation of exercise as well. She was going to go cycle all around Denmark on a charity ride, collecting money for children and youth suffering loss of parents. And she is not only an avid cyclist, she cycles about 40 kilometers back and forth to work every day. But she decided before going back from work, she could just pass a local nursing home to get some more exercise and some more muscle works in her legs, pushing this trishaw with two elderly passengers in front. So there are all these different ways of being motivated. Jesper and Dorte is a married couple. And they have lived in this small area on the outskirts of Copenhagen for quite a while, never having thought that the elderly people in the nursing home just next door were their neighbors. Not because they didn't want them as neighbors, but that same mind I was explaining to you at the beginning, that we think once in a nursing home, someone else will take care of it. But the bicycle... they're keen cyclists and they keen outdoor people. So when this bicycle was first appeared in their neighboring nursing home, they thought, maybe we need to go and have a look at that, which simply opened the doors between the nursing home and that very street, that very local community just around them. And as you can see in the little picture up at the top, Jesper will take people out any time a year. I'm just trying to say that because I know you get some heavier winters than we do. Steen is motivated just because he likes having like new grandparents. He has basically been adopted, and he himself has adopted the elderly couple that you see in the little picture on the side. Next year they're going to have their 75th anniversary, and last year he gave them a special surprise on their anniversary, not knowing if there was going to be another one. But he took them to Tivoli, and the rickshaw was the tool which enabled him to do so. And he drove up to Tivoli, having arranged with his girlfriend that she would be ready at the front door or the front entrance with two wheelchairs, because you're not allowed to push the bicycle inside. Having said that, I do think we get away with getting this bicycle into places you would have never thought of, like into the metro in Copenhagen, where cargo bikes are not allowed. But the staff who control tickets and stuff, they look at it and they see, hey, I can create a better day and quality of life at this very moment for these elderly people if I allow them into the metro. I don't know what they say to their bosses afterwards, but I know it happens. Or even into shopping malls, where you got the broad streets, indoor streets. We've got pilots who push the bicycle into there and make sure that the elderly again are able to do their shopping, or look at shoe shops or clothes shop, or go to the supermarket, or buy fresh flowers. Just this little thing of needing your wallet again. Many people, when they move into a nursing home, they don't need their wallet. Can you imagine going anywhere in the world without having your wallet with you? Your whole identity is in that wallet. But once you live in an institution, you don't need your wallet anymore, because everything is there provided for you. But now, going out and feeling that identity again of being your own boss and deciding what flowers or what ice cream or whatever glass of wine you want to buy. Louise is a career woman, and Louise is using a booking system that we have developed that helps coordinate the tours easily between the nursing home facilities and the pilots in their individual homes. She does that because she needs it to fit into like a hard-working schedule. But however busy she is, she makes people hang on to life strongly. I met Johannes, whom you see here in the middle, last year, and he had just gone through a lung operation. He was not very well at all. I could see that he was very weak, and I spoke to him, but he assured me that everything was going to be all right, because as soon as Louisa gets back from the United States, she's going to take me to the botanical gardens. I've heard that everyone else went while I was in hospital. So these friendships that occurs around this bicycle simply make people hang on to life in a situation that is really difficult. And they get all the care and all the help and all the service that our system can provide, but the relationships comes through the neighbors. Next to him you see Jørn, and Jørn is he's not only a passenger, but at the age of 86, I think he was at the time when he first jumped on the seat and not in the passenger seat, he simply said to Ollie, "Now, Ollie, you have been taking me out so many times. How about I give you a bike ride as well?" And he became a pilot, and so he has been for a couple of years. He's saying now that his lung capacity and his breathing and stuff is suffering, so he doesn't dare go out very far anymore. He does go to the park ever so often, but he has been taking his fellow nursing home residents out into the city. He even took Johannes, whom you saw before, for a birthday party. He was stood up by the taxi company, and Jørn says to him, "Johannes, don't you worry about it. We got the rickshaw." And they went 9 kilometers through the city, those 2 old gigs, all by themselves. And he's the one who has told us, forget about the bicycle or forget about bicycling. It's so much more than a bike ride. You create proper friendships, real friendships. Today, I was on Facebook this morning with our Norwegian friend, Tormod, who lives in Skien in Norway. And he has been one of the initiators to bring Cycling Without Age to Norway. I hope I don't offend any Norwegian people around by saying that they don't have a very strong cycling culture. But bringing the rickshaws into the mountains, up and down mountains in Norway was a big surprise to us. We thought you could only ride around where it's flat. I mean, we got cities in Denmark that don't think they can ride this bicycle because they've got what they call hills. But anyway, Tormod here, who's around 60, he had an accident that caused him not to be able to ride his own bicycle, but he realized jumping on this trishaw, having the 3 wheels to balance for you, he again could enjoy cycling. And not only could he take himself around, but he could take his elderly neighbors out as well. Lastly, let me introduce you to mother and son, Sophia and Christian. Sophia is the hardworking woman who is taking people up the hill. That is not a mountain, but a hill in Denmark. And she's a bit of a extreme sports person, and you can even tell how she goes across these iron bars that keeps the animals from going from one field to the other. She just finds a couple of pieces of wood, and then she transports people across. She goes right up to the animals, and not only does she pilot herself, but she has brought her son Christian with her, first as a co-cyclist, and now she has trained him to become a pilot as well at the age of 12. So he is today our very youngest pilot. And I think, Christian, much better than I can do myself. Let's hope the sound works.
Jeg vil gerne lige sige hej. Er der ikke nogen? Okay, vi vender lige om her nu.
Så har jeg fast grund under fødderne.
Og den er her, din.
Det er fint, tak.
Dit køretøj der.
Ja,
Ja.
tak for turen.
Jo, tak.
Ja, pænt er der, unge mand.
Ja.
Det skal du få lov at gøre en anden gang.
Jo, tak.
Ja, ikke?
You will think that after having worked with this for 3 years, you don't get touched, but I get touched by every single person who enters the platform of Cycling Without Age, because it inspires me to see how each individual find their own purpose through the bicycle. And it doesn't matter whether they're 12 years old or they're 50 or they're 90. So yeah, I think it's for many people who get involved, it's all about the purpose. I like to touch slightly before we wind up on the effects that we have seen. First of all, I think maybe not in Denmark as such, but in other countries, we are seeing that it influences how cyclism and cycling is viewed and how aging population are looked upon. I was touching upon going slowly before. I think this has proved that cyclists at all ages need to be able to enjoy the freedom and mobility of going out on a bike ride, and we need to provide the best equipment and the best conditions on our roads in order to bring them out again. See, even heading for the beach when you're going on a long ride. It doesn't matter whether you're 90 or whether you're a little one. So I think Cycling Without Age has encouraged getting new age groups out into the streets. This is a playground in Copenhagen, which has been designed as a city in order to teach little ones to ride. So it's all about bringing all age groups, not only their ability to cycle, but also their ability to interact and be related to other people while at it. Of course, we're talking about health promotion, and it's not health promotion in the sense that we all need to eat our broccoli and not drink our red wine, but it's health promotion in the sense that when we are in good relations and strong relations, and we got people to share our stories with, it is much easier for each one of us to take care of our physical health as well as we do feel a stronger mental and social health when we are in these relations. I think I touched upon before that once you move into a nursing home, or once you, even sitting in your own home and suffering, well, not suffering from old age, but suffering from the things that occur to you when you get older, and your physical functions and everything, you can feel isolated from the society, and that can grow a sense of loneliness in you. So we've seen that it breaks that isolation and that sense of loneliness because people are now re-related to others again. We know that people sleep better at night when they've been outside. We know that people got more appetite, not just for the dinner at night, but also for life in itself. We know that people are motivated by learning how to get on and off this bicycle. Lots of physical training in a nursing home might take place on little stairs, and the little stairs, they end at a dead-end wall. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like 5 steps, and then there's the wall, and you have to come down again. But this bicycle can even be used as a training equipment, because once you've learned to get on and off, you also got the opportunity to get back out into the city. So it motivates people to get out of the chair where they might have otherwise not wanted to come out. We got this old lady who's suffering from Parkinson, and she gets really stiff when she walks with her roller. All of a sudden, she just stops. She can't walk further on. The body won't react to what her brain thinks it should do. And she feels very motivated, having the opportunity to go to different areas of the city and practice her walking and keep training instead of just walking up and down the halls in the nursing home. So it does motivate people to get out of their chairs. I think one of the most significant effects that we've seen is actually on people suffering from dementia. I'm not too sure whether dementia is big, not big in that sense, but if a lot of people are living with dementia in Iceland, but there is in Denmark and in very many countries of the world, because the aging population is getting older and older and older. And we have seen some significant effects on people with dementia, like losing the frustration that can occur when cognitively you cannot be together with other people, because everyone is always like forcing you to communicate and have a conversation about topics that we would talk to each other about. But having dementia, once people ask you a question and it enters your brain here, the answer just doesn't come out the same way, because that's what has happened to the brain. So there's no sort of connection between what's been asked and what's been answered, and it creates a lot of anxiety that you can't follow a conversation anymore. We realized that on these bicycles, people, they don't have to be forced to have this conversation. They can just sit and enjoy and use other senses to adapt the world and just see what's all around them. Jørn here, the bold guy on the left, is a good example. He came on one of our long rides, which was 300 kilometers in 3 days in rickshaws. We brought 20 nursing home residents with us, a good crowd of 15 pilots and a handful of staff members. We had a bus that followed us, not that the elderly wanted to sit on the bus because they wanted wind in their hair. And we had our own cook, and we had a mechanic, a mobile mechanic car coming with us. But what really touches me the most about this whole trip is how, when we came back to Denmark from Germany, Jørn's wife was there receiving us. And he has a severe Alzheimer's. He had been going a bit away from us, but over the days he started connecting with us and he started smiling more and more and more. And when he saw his wife, he walked up to her and verbally told her about the trip. In that very moment, that was a huge step in his life quality and her life quality. Not to forget. Of course, the week after, maybe he couldn't tell about it again, but that very moment was so special that he was able to talk to her, because this journey was the essence of his identity. He had been working with forestry and outdoor life throughout his professional career, and now he was back out there on the bike lane, along the forest, along the fjords, just enjoying life as that. And we do know for a fact that a month later, he reunited with the others who had been on the trip, and he still remembered many of the names, even if he had not known them before he had Alzheimer's and before this trip to Germany. So not only is it between volunteers who come in, but it's also in families that you get reinvigorated family relations. You know, when your mother or father are very old and you sort of only see their dysfunctions. We had a lady who said to us, ever since I got my stroke, my daughters have been looking at me as if I can't do anything anymore, as if I'm incapable. But now I can tell them that I can go on bike rides. And we had a lady who was interviewed on the radio who was telling that she takes her mother out. So it's also family relations. It's like family that can go out on the bicycles as well. And she said that for a long time, every conversation had only been about the mother's frustration and how it was living with dementia and all her anxiety. But going out on a bike ride, they became mother and daughter again. They were back in that relation, having great experiences, going on adventures together. And when she looked at her mother from behind, she could see her mother's proud neck when she took in the world, being that little royal lady sitting in front of the carriage, just exploring everything. Yes. We know that it unites family, even in ways that we have never expected. And you might be wondering if we ever wrote a project description where we sort of wanted to do all of these things. And the answer is no. We never had a single word written down. And today I'm very happy that we didn't, because it just proves that every single person who enters into this initiative can create their own purpose and their own benefit and their own effect. Inger, we met Inger. She's 101 and she lives in Frederiksberg in Denmark. And she was telling us when she was younger and how she was always bicycling. Of course, this is very, very many years back. And she had some older brothers who moved to America. And she was telling us how they settled down and they created bakery shops over there in the US. And we asked her, well, where is this? And it happened to be in the state of Wisconsin, in a small city called Racine, where we happened to be going 2 weeks ago to set up Cycling Without Age, because we'd been contacted by some nursing homes over there who wanted to start the program. Of course, we had to find out whether any relatives of Auntie Inger were still alive over there. And it turned out that even one of the nursing home staff was good friends with a niece of a niece of a niece, to Auntie Inga, and so we reunited on her behalf, and we've brought home a little film and the pictures from this reunion. Yes, so I think I will just show you the very last movie of having people tell you what it does to them and how it connects the world. This is just a trailer for a documentary that's going to come out in October, a full documentary, which was made mainly around our long trip from Denmark to Norway in June this year.